Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking a box. No, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben, what's in the box?
What's in the box?
I think it's probably bourbon.
What's in the box?
All right, so we have got, bam, Minnesota 14 whiskey. Okay, so this one is a Minnesota brand. Now, for our people watching not in Minnesota,
Well, they don't have to sell. I mean, they can sell it other places.
Right, so I don't know what the distribution is on this, but I know
Nobody
some
knows.
of their products I've seen in other videos that are different states and stuff. So you guys may have access to this, but this is a Minnesota one from Panther Distillery. 80 proof, aged in fine oak barrels. It's a double oak.
So they say age 4 years and then put in a new barrel for an additional year, so 5 years. They do kind of cheat and they put a 14 on there. 14 has nothing great to do with like Minnesota.
It's not a 14-year bourbon.
It is absolutely not a 14-year bourbon. It's a 5-year bourbon, which is kind of interesting. It is only, or
Is this non-chill filtered?
nobody knows.
It certainly looks like
it looks
it is.
non-chill filtered.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's about all we know about it. No mash bill or anything like that. But let's.
So the distillery is located just over there, about 73 miles, something like that.
Yeah, Osakis. Yeah, probably something like that.
I have never had this. I
haven't either.
One of their products, and it was a White Lightning.
And that was a long time
It
ago,
was
right?
a very long time ago, but White Lightnings are never good, and theirs was, it lived up to expectations.
Interesting nose on this.
Grain forward.
Yeah, I find I've had a couple of Minnesota bourbons. They tend to be a bit grain forward, and I don't know if that's the aging, we get such bitter cold winters here that maybe the barrel kind of seizes up and then it doesn't allow as much interaction.
But it also could be different corn. You know what I mean?
Could be, yeah. There is an ear of corn on the side.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool bottle, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, they got a picture of the distillery on there too. Or the grain tower up in Osakis.
Yeah. All right.
There's kind of a heat to this, a little bit of cinnamon maybe trying to come out of here. But
I
there's
would
some caramel
expect.
as
I would
well.
expect cinnamon forward. Maybe even.
I don't know though.
Yeah.
Honestly, at first I was getting a bit of an off-putting grain forward note, but it's warming up to me.
I'm getting a
Or
little bit
warming
of
up
like
to
that
it.
traditional pot still kind of note, which I really don't know how to describe.
Musty a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, musty.
His nose is just getting better and better though. I tell you
It's
what.
helping it with a little bit of like swirling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
All
go
right,
for
let's
it.
go for the taste. Cheers. That's interesting.
Almond forward, in a interesting way though. Like I don't think this is a weeder, but I'm getting like an interesting almond, toasted almond. The proof is very low. Like it's a surprise that it's 80. Like
Honestly, I'm getting a little bit more of a bite than I was expecting.
oh well.
Yeah.
The oak helps.
Yeah.
Definitely the second barreling I think really helps it.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely adding some flavor to this. I feel like without that, this would be a little more basic than it is. But again, it's 80 proof, so you can only get so far with an 80 proof whiskey, to be
I
honest.
don't know if I subscribe to that.
Well, Captain Basil Hayden over here.
I think 80 proofers can be fine. They just need something interesting, either age or secondary finishing or something.
There's something about this on the nose that's really, like, it just keeps getting more and more bold.
I'm getting almost a fig. Like there's a particular dessert with a pastry, like a really like flaky, buttery pastry with fig kind of notes.
I'm having a very hard time describing this.
Yeah, well, I just described it.
It's not, well, that's pretty good actually. Would fig be in the same sort of wheelhouse as like raisin?
Yes.
I'm getting a little bit of that. I can see where you're coming from on that.
Without the grape. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, without the actual like grapey, like grape
Yeah, it's
jelly
not like
kind
fruity or anything. There is some cinnamon, but I feel like it's like it's trying to come
subtle.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not cinnamon forward. It's cinnamon is third in line. It's got some like really nice flavors that are a little bit. I mean, I hate to say that it needs 2 more years, but it could be freaking awesome in 2 years.
I think it needs maybe 10 more proof points,
and
maybe up to 90 or 94 or something.
And that's
like
the hard thing. It's a small distillery. They're trying to, release product.
It is, and they're distilling and aging and producing their own spirit. So kudos to them for doing that.
Totally.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with sourced bourbons, but when you see a distillery that's actually
they're trying it,
just doing their own thing, that is a big undertaking for
totally agree.
any distillery. So yeah, trying to release stuff at higher proofs is, it's risky because not everybody's looking for that. As much as we like the higher proof stuff, that we've always said that there is definitely a market for 80 proof bourbons that people that aren't bourbon fiends like you and I are, just like that easier, smoother sort of drinking.
I'm starting
whiskey.
to get a red pepper kind of note, like a good spice, and I think some of that is the barrel. Mm-hmm. Does this start? I mean, I hate to say grow on me because that sounds like it came from a bad place, but I actually really am enjoying this.
I will tell you this. I'm surprised by it because, again, I've had a couple other Minnesota bourbons and there's something about them. They have a flavor, and it does come across as that pot still mustiness. There is a little bit of that going on here.
It's very subtle.
But this is definitely one that's just, as you're sipping on it, it just kind of starts to, I don't know if it's just opening up or if it just starts to grow on you a little bit.
Yeah. Like at this point, I genuinely like it, and I'm not saying that just because they're local, but like I had kind of low expectations. It's $65, and that's going to be the hard point.
But again, that's the hard part for
any small
distilleries that are
distillery
doing
trying
their
to
own
get
product,
going.
yeah.
They're trying to get product out there so they can bring in some revenue, but
I gotta have a little more of
it
this.
just takes time. Yeah, be careful of that cork. They use this synthetic
Their corks
cork,
are
which
a little too big for.
no, it works out just fine. Come on, you can do it.
I feel like because I'm just waiting to like push the bottle over while I'm putting force into this.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, this is it's interesting.
So I get what I don't know how to describe other than a coppery kind of pot still kind of note that I don't love, but that's kind of like rescued by the age and the nice kind of wood tannins that kind of like save that. Mm-hmm. So that's what kind of keeps it from going into Texas whiskey category.
Oh, this is way better than Texas whiskey.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, the price point is tough at 80 proof.
Yep.
I like the 5 years. Do you know what? So a lot of times people that aren't super into whiskey, they want to buy a bottle that they want is something special or they want to give it as a gift for somebody. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll find a local small craft distillery and gift that because they think it's kind of like craft beer where it's going to be something really good and really special that you can only get at this one place. Most of the time that is not the case.
I think this one actually stands up to it.
I think if somebody gave me this as a gift, it's not something that I would have to just sit on the shelf because I don't like it and I'm not going to drink it.
Yep.
You know?
This has turned into a nice caramel and red pepper kind of like mid kind of palate.
Yeah. Now, this is not a typical bourbon profile.
I
will
agree.
say that.
Yeah,
It's a very, very craft bourbon profile. And
yes.
for those of you watching that are super into bourbon, which I'm assuming you are because you're watching this channel, you know what I'm talking about with the craft distillery. But it's a little bit on the better side of that.
I would agree.
So,
Yep.
not a bad job on this one.
Nope, not at all.
All right. Well, this has been Minnesota 14, Minnesota Whiskey on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.